Hello and welcome to the Wellness Junction Podcast. I am Jordana, and on this show, we discuss the intersection of mental health and sexual and reproductive health. This is episode 1. For this very first episode, I am so glad to have been joined by the very fun and very energetic Stecy Onyango, who is a clinical psychologist and passionate about all things sexual and reproductive health. And she sets for us the very best foundation we could ever have hoped for this podcast. We delve into the basics of mental health, and among the very many questions that I am asking Stecy and you today is, if your mood was a piece of cloth in your wardrobe, what will it be and why? I am so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's go. Welcome to the Wellness Junction Podcast. On this show, we engage with young people to explore their lived experiences with mental, sexual, and reproductive health and well-being. We also hear from experts who provide helpful insights and practical steps to navigating vulnerabilities that come with mental and reproductive health. I am Jordana, the host of the show, and I am so glad you're here. Hi, Stecy.
Hi.
Welcome to the Wellness Junction Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
The very first one.
The inaugural one.
This feels very surreal. Mm-hmm. This podcast has been in the making, I kid you not, for such a long time. Mm-hmm. My goodness, years and counting. So I am really excited to do this, and I'm mostly excited to do this with you.
Finally.
So, karibu sana to the podcast. We'll just start from the very beginning. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
All right. So my name is Stecy Onyango. I am a clinical psychologist. So my background is largely based in psychology. That's what I've been doing and I'm still doing currently. My passions do lie in the mental health space, but also greatly in sexual and reproductive health, particularly when it comes to offering psychoeducation services or materials to all individuals across the board. Yes. That's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much. That's very extensive. So I think just from how you've introduced yourself, our listeners already know why you are here. Because on this podcast, we're very heavy on discussing how mental health and sexual and reproductive health and rights intersect, specifically in the lives of young people. But one of the things that we do realize is that this is not just an issue for young people. This is an issue that cuts across for people of all ages.
For sure.
Yeah, from like the day you you come into this world until the day you leave it. So the idea of sexual and reproductive health and even mental health, they are not really new to people, essentially. Social media and just media in general has given us access to so much information today. I think it is safe to say that if anyone wanted to access information about sexual and reproductive health and even mental health, they just need to make a few clicks. But that said, there's still a lot of information. I mean, people do know maybe the basics, or, a lot of what we hear maybe is from hearsay. It's, it's like rumors on the internet. You saw this one TikTok and, we have this tendency of believing that because I saw this one TikTok, I understand mental health.
Yeah.
So we are just going to start from the basics of defining these terms, because we have mental health on one hand, and then on the other hand, we have sexual and reproductive health and rights. So can you just take us through, start with mental health? What does that mean when we talk about mental health?
All right. If I was to be cocky, I'd say mental health just means afya ya akili. Yeah. But to put it in a very simple way, as simple as I could put it, is it's mental health refers to a state of well-being where an individual or individuals can cope with normal stresses of life, work productivity, and contribute to their community. So mental health is not just the absence of mental health illness, but it also encompasses an emotional well-being, resilience, and the capacity for one to be able to experience life meaningfully.
Sure.
Yes, that is mental health.
Yeah. And you have mentioned that mental health is not simply the absence of mental illness. I think that one of the misconceptions or the way we don't view mental health rightly is that we think, when someone mentions mental health, our minds usually go to someone not being okay mentally. It's like mental health is taken to mean mental illness. It's like, oh, my mental health is not well. Someone is probably thinking, I have I have depression, or I have like a mental illness. And could you just stress on the fact that mental health is not the absence of illness, or it does not even mean, that someone has like very severe mental health conditions?
Good one. I'd say also when you just look at how our society is set up, there's a lot of negative connotation around sometimes also things that we don't understand. Your typical health scare looks like, for example, if you have malaria or typhoid or you're cut somewhere, it's so easy to go to the doctor and they can see the cut, they treat it, they clean it, either sew it up, put a bandage on it. If it's malaria, they take your blood, a sample, they go test it in the lab, then they get the results. But mental health is quite different, because how do you now start, for example, explaining to someone that I just don't feel myself?
Right.
Will they take a stethoscope and, measure why is it that you don't feel yourself? Or I feel always sort of like anxious, like I feel scared to do things. I worry all the time. I'm not sleeping well. It's really new to a lot of people, but I wouldn't say it's new in the sense that there has not been an absence of mental illness, but also mental health issues. I feel it's new in the sense of now we have a name to put to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's new in the sense that actually, even when for example, when I see clients, I take history. And sometimes we ask, all right, has someone in your family experienced this? And they're able to tell you, a brother, sister, or my mother, they experienced this. When it comes to even how the family copes with stress, what usually happens when, things are not going well, how do you handle those things? So just as you're asking, it's not just about the absence of mental illness, but also that emotional well-being, and even particularly the resilience part is quite meaningful, because, life always has challenges. It's part of the human experience. Now, how are you able to, be resilient all through it and overcome it? What are those things that you've built in you so that you're able to, when adversity comes your way, you're able to deal with it well, and at the end, hopefully, be able to reach somewhere where you're like, sawa, the light at the end of the tunnel kweli inang'aa very brightly.
Yeah, for sure. And I think resilience is something that we will definitely come back to and discuss a bit more, because I think it really does matter, and emotional well-being as well. So you have mentioned that you do see clients, and I'm just curious to what your client base usually looks like. Like typically what sort of clients do you see?
All right. So I am very privileged to see children from the age of at least 10
I see.
all the way to as old as possible. So my youngest client has been 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah. And my oldest has been around 50, 60 something there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, let me just go off on a tangent here and ask, because you're much younger than 50, definitely.
Yeah.
Has seeing someone that's older than you, like, what was that experience like? What is the experience like when you see clients who are older than you? Do they come in, trusting that you know what you're doing, or do they look at you and you're like, is this one going to be able to help me?
Good question. They do come very skeptical. I think maybe I'd start by saying that your average client who comes to seek psychological help is not as misinformed as one you'd think.
Ah.
So they've definitely done their research. They'll ask you questions, and also in my line of work, compatibility and being able to build rapport counts a lot.
For sure.
So let's say, depending on the issue that the client is coming in with, they'd sometimes even prefer to have a therapist who's married. Or who has children. That is a preference. Now, sometimes you have the option of, referring them outside if you can't handle it. But also, at the end of the day, the professionalism goes a long way. So in instances where a client is a bit skeptical that you're young, it's usually, I think one of the ways just to reassure them that the age doesn't really make a difference. You've been in school, gone to class, done your practicum, which has given you, that experience and the knowledge and expertise to be able to deliver to them the care that they require with the respect and, a lot of attention to whatever it is that they're hoping to get out of the psychological care that they want and need.
Yeah, and I like the way you coined that term, Stecy, psychological care. I think that's a term that we are going to be using around here more often. It sounds really nice to put it that way. It made me wonder, let me just ask, first of all, for how long have you been practicing clinical psychology?
All right. So right now to go 2024, I've been practicing for about, I'd say, 3 years and some months.
So, about 3 years.
Yeah.
Over the 3 years that you have been working, have you seen an increase in uptake of mental health services? Is it the same? Is there a reduction? What does it look like? Are more people interested in their mental wellness? All
right. So let me use, what metric should I use? Let me use a metric of when I was in campus and the school campus, the counseling center. Yeah. Because I was also privileged to have worked in like a campus setting. And definitely guys are taking that initiative to sort out for psychological help and care. And it's not more so even just going to see the therapist. I think just even being able to sometimes do a Google search of what is mental health. I think that's already just a first step. So definitely I'll say there's definitely an increase. If you even look at the social media space, which plays a very, very vital role in how information is disseminated, in how advocacy happens, and even the campaigns that are done. Even when you look at some of the comedy skits that are put out there, some of them do target mental wellness. So I feel it's not just about going to see the therapist, but it's also about just the dissemination of information that is already there. So I'd say definitely there's an increase. There's a very, very big increase. And even beyond that, remember there's a myriad of mental issues, to put it so. And some are not necessarily what you'd refer to as your typical mental illness. For example, people who have, what do I call them now? Educational issues, so dyscalculia, dysgraphia, people who have neurodevelopmental disorders. You say, all those. And even where the country is right now, you'd find that before there's only one professional in Nairobi or in whatever city that is. But now there's really initiative that is being put out to train people, but also inform. And I feel information is the first point of contact, where if you have that information or knowledge, then you know where to start looking for help.
Yeah,
so
for
definitely
sure.
I'd say there's an increase.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I like that bit of, information is the first step. That is actually very true. You know how they used to tell us information is power in, I don't know, was that high school or primary? And you usually just, or, it's the key. And you're like, I have no idea. Or education is the key.
Yeah.
I mean, was 844 the key to unlock every possibility in life? That's debatable. But information actually really does count a lot, especially when it comes to issues of, what do you do with that information?
Yeah.
And I think as we speak about information, we also have to acknowledge the fact that there is disinformation as well.
100%.
Or information that is not nuanced, especially on social media.
Yeah.
Let me just laugh for 1 second, because and I mean it cuts across every other issue, on political issues, on health issues. I mean, what issue in life does not have a bit of politics in it? But it cuts across on all issues. I mean, there is a wave of disinformation as well, because now on social media, everyone has the possibility to become an expert, or just like generally on media. So when you speak about information, do you have any maybe recommendations or just pointers to where is a good place to get information and where is not a good place to get information about mental health, but also just general issues in life? Maybe in this case, mental health and sexual and reproductive health.
All right. So maybe I'd start with, for example, when it comes to even mental health or sexual and reproductive health, maybe you're looking at it from a point of someone is curious or they just want to know, okay, what is this? A simple Google search usually is a start for many, but not that many. And I say not that many because of this. When you look at the school setting, it usually starts, I usually like to call it, it's sort of like a rumor mill, but not a rumor mill per se. It's sort of simina kusho. Yeah. So someone probably learned it from or heard it from somewhere else, and then they don't have 100% of the information, and they tell a friend, and even look at some of the myths around sex, or if you have only sex once for the first time, you can't get pregnant. There's still people who believe that.
Imagine.
It's not true. It's really not true. So even when it comes to now trying to get, the key here is the correct and right information.
Yeah.
Even when you now reach out to the internet to seek it, I think one of the things would be to look at credible sources. So really note what sites you're looking at. Yeah. And for example, PubMed really puts out a lot of good medical information, and it's usually correct.
Cool.
So even looking at whatever source you're looking at, look at it, make sure that it's credible. The other one, we don't like to read, but it's in the books.
It's in the books.
I should have started with that. It's in the books. It's in the books. Unfortunately, maybe sometimes they cannot be anatomically correct, but it's somewhere. It's a start, so it's in the books, really.
Yeah.
So let's read.
So after this episode, people should pick up a bunch of books and read.
It's really in the books, and I also feel depending on how you consume media, there's YouTube, aka YouTube University. YouTube, there's literally professionals. So you'll find a medical doctor, a clinical psychologist, lawyers, everyone that you'd ever think of. There's literally professionals who aim to teach, and they teach the right and correct information. So I think YouTube is also a very good avenue, or you'd say is one of the places that people can seek to find the information that they are looking for.
Oh, that's really cool. And I think also a good professional, when they're teaching you, usually tells you this is general information. It does not. It is not nuanced specifically to you. So I think also us just looking out, who am I listening to, and knowing that for me to get information specifically about me, I need to probably seek to learn further, seek more information on it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So you touched a bit on emotional well-being, and I would just like for us to speak a bit more on that, and also speak about the mental health issues that arise, things like stress and depression and anxiety, because it's very easy to label things what they are not. Someone has a bit of stress from work, oh my god, I'm so anxious. Or someone is feeling sad for one day, oh my goodness, they have depression. Or the flip side of the coin is someone just goes on for their entire life without realizing that they are dealing with something like post-traumatic stress. So there's like two sides of the coin, where we can minimize something that's really huge, or we can blow out of proportion something that does not really exist. So can you just inform us on emotional well-being and some of the issues that some of the issues surrounding that?
All right. So when you speak of emotional well-being, I'd even branch it out to look at just the wholeness of it, which is emotional, psychological, and social well-being.
Nice.
Yeah, because we are, yes, individuals, but we exist in the context of ourselves and others.
Yeah.
So the emotional, psychological, and social well-being are usually aspects that are integral to mental health. So emotional well-being refers to how we feel. Unahisi aje. And then psychological well-being involves our cognition. I don't want to say brain, but brain. So basically our cognition and emotional balance. And then social well-being relates to how we interact with others and our sense of belonging. They say no man is an island.
Yeah.
So that's the social well-being.
Well-being
That's why they'd even ask you, do you have friends, or who are your friends? What do you do for fun when you're not like working? Who do you play with? Rafiki zako ni akina nani na mnafanyanga nini now?
You sound like an African mother.
Who are those people that, where do you belong? In what circles do you belong? Is it a club? Is it a art club? Is it a fun club or something? What do you do? And then even the emotional aspect. How are you feeling? Do you feel sad? Do you feel happy? I usually use a wheel to help clients sometimes identify our emotions. As you were alluding to earlier, that sometimes someone has had just a bad day and they're like, oh my God, I'm so depressed. It could be true that, but then there's more to it. So what is this feeling exactly? Is it anger particularly because something didn't go the way you wanted to? That's now the emotion. Is it, for example, disappointment because, things didn't pan out the way you'd anticipated? Is it maybe you're just feeling despair because you see no hope and you're feeling like you're done with? That's the emotional one. And then psychological is also now as I was saying, the cognitive and the emotional balance. Are you dwelling too much on the negative where now it's starting to affect you? Or are you able to see life with like a lens to understand that it's sort of like a balance? There'll be good, there'll be bad. So what can you do to make sure that you're able to have that equilibrium where there's the balance? And then now when you're looking at mental health and mental illnesses, this basically means that mental health is focusing on an individual's overall state of mind and functioning. And then mental illness usually is specific to conditions or disorders. So these can be, like you'd mentioned, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, etc., etc. And also emotional well-being to that extent, on the other hand, is able to highlight a person's ability to be able to navigate emotions, cope with challenges, and maintain positive interpersonal relationships. And I usually say, when people ask me this question, your understanding of mental health and my understanding of mental health and mental illnesses are very different. Very, very different. And I've always wondered, what's the best way that I can explain to help someone understand what you're speaking about? Like, I get it, but see hivo. Yeah. So we have our Holy Bible that we call the DSM. We're now in the 5th revised edition. Okay. So that's a diagnostic manual that we use to help diagnose disorders. And it's basically like, you know, the food triangle? The one that has the carbohydrates and the vitamins and the proteins and the fats. It's basically like that. So even with mental illnesses, they're classified under different categories. So for example, your depression would fall under a mood disorder because it affects the mood. Your bipolar will fall under the personality disorders because it has an effect on the personalities. Your ADHDs, your autism, for example, will fall under the neurodevelopmental disorder because it affects the brain and the development. Your alcoholism and these other issues with drug use and related will fall under drug and other related disorders. So if it's alcohol use or other drug use, narcotics and whatnot. If it's your gambling and whatnot, addiction. It will fall under the other addictive disorders. And also, just because, you know, there's a lot of, here's the other thing, there's a lot of research that has been put behind it. There's also other life things that affect people. So they don't necessarily accrue up to be a mental illness, but there's still things that affect our day-to-day and might be contributing factors to, you know, your mental health. So for example, one of the things just at the top of my mind is you can have parent-child relational issues where the relationship between the parent and is strained, or you can even have the siblings relational issues. Sometimes you can even have the word is not poverty, but sort of like the housing problems that still can be an issue to mental health. Someone is not earning enough, that still can be an issue to mental health. You can also have, just a few at the top of my head. So all those issues are still not necessarily categorized now in these classes that I was telling you, but there's still issues that, you know, account for mental health.
And I mean, in this case, because we are speaking about how it intersects with sexual and reproductive health, also, you know, there is, you know, an overlap how our sexual and reproductive well-being contributes to how we feel mentally. Generally.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. That, I think that's very comprehensive, and I think that how you have broken them down in using that diagnostic manual. Okay, all right. It is very helpful because I mean, one that has caught me a bit off guard is the gambling issue. I don't know why, for some reason it has never really registered in my mind.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you know, sometimes when I look at just society, specifically in the Kenyan context, the problem is glaring us there in the eyes. But it's like we have our rose-colored glasses and we refuse to see it.
Right.
Because you tell me how many betting companies are there.
And how many more.
And how many more keep coming up. And then tell me, how are those people still in business?
Right.
How are they still? That answers your question. How are they still in business?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. it means, there's like a wave of, people who are going into betting a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just tells you how widespread mental health is. And so it's not possible for for a person to explicitly say, oh no, that's not something that touches on me,
Yeah.
Have you met, maybe just people in your normal life or even clients who got to you for some reason and then they didn't feel like they're fine, they're 100% okay, but then you as a psychologist, you're just like, even you saying you're okay is very telling.
I'll use myself.
Okay, let's go there.
I'll use myself. So when I was in campus, usually in my school, when we had at the beginning of every class, so that day one of class, for all the courses, you'd find the lecturer asking you to introduce yourself, say something, that cliche, tell us about something interesting about you. But specifically in my...
Something interesting about yourself.
Specifically in my psychology classes, that usually sometimes ask us, what made you to do psychology? And an answer that I have given and friends have given is we wanted to heal ourselves and understand ourselves. Yeah, because I felt like even for me, there's earlier on in my teenage years where I felt something was bothering me, but I don't know how to explain that something is bothering me. But there's particular habits that I have that, my parent or people around me can say, there's something wrong with this child.
Yeah.
But they really just can't put
a finger
to it. Yeah. And so for me, even when I started going for therapy, because yes, therapists also go for therapy. When I started going for therapy, I remember with my first therapist, I used to I was there for vibes. Because yes, I was doing the degree, but it didn't quite click yet for me. I was also young, still very young then. Yeah, it didn't really quite click for me. Okay, why am I know I need help. And sometimes she'd get through to me and I'd be like, now she's seeing, and she's seeing all these my bad things. And
amekuja sana.
Yeah, she's come too fast. She should just relax, chill. Yeah. And that was me. So I'd use me as an example. Yes, I've definitely had moments where I didn't quite understand, why do I need to even see a professional, number one? Why do I need to talk about these problems? Two, kwani utanisaidia aje?
Right? You can't solve my problems. I mean, if my problem is money, are you going to give me money?
Yeah.
No, thanks, bye.
Yeah. You utanisaidia aje? But of course, with the great gracefulness of having an opportunity to continue to go for therapy and still even have an opportunity to have supervision and still go for therapy, I can 100% say it's something to give a try. And here's the point where I should also include, it's just not talk therapy. There's still very different avenues and different forms of therapy that people can partake in, if it's music therapy, if it's art therapy, etc. Yeah.
Oh wow. You'll definitely you'll walk us through a few of that. I would just like to know specifically in the context of young people who are our main target with this podcast. And here young, I basically just mean from 15 onwards, maybe up to, I wanted to say 15 up to 45. I'm like, does 45 still qualify as young? But in this podcast, we'll just call 45 young.
Okay.
What? Because you have said, sometimes we don't recognize how essential our mental health is to our general well-being.
Yeah.
And I have definitely been part of, that statistic.
Yeah.
And I think for me, things started unraveling sometime in 2022, and I couldn't just keep it together. And then, of course, after a lot of introspection and seeking help, I realized, oh my goodness, I have quite, I had a lot of baggage that I needed to to sift through, and I needed to learn, on things like, depression and, what does it mean to be anxious all the time, and, what are the implications of that. And so what I would like for us to speak a bit more about is what are the real life consequences of us not addressing, of us not tending to our mental well-being. I mean, just as you said, when someone has, a cut in their foot, you rush to the doctor. When you have an illness in your body, you go and see the doctor, because you know that if you don't take care of that thing, it will get worse, you will lose your life. But of course, because, mental health sometimes, if you do not have access to the information that this is what's not going well with you, it can be dismissed very easily. If you don't have access to information about what's actually going on with you, first of all, you won't even know that you need to see a doctor. It's only a person who feels like they're sick that feels they need to see a doctor. So what are some of the consequences that arise when we don't tend to our mental well-being, specifically as young people?
All right. Before I even answer, I feel like the genesis of us not tending to it might be, of course, a myriad of explanations and reasoning behind it. But there's this one particularly that I always like to refer to. And it's also because I have been a victim of it, and probably others have been a victim of it.
Right.
And it starts from our school system. And the thing particularly about our school system, so I went to an 844 school. Yeah. And for some reason, the quote-unquote holiest teacher, or the one who was closest to God, was selected to be counseling head or something.
Right.
Yeah. To my understanding then, all these individuals had was a teaching degree, which they were good at. They were good teachers, they were producing results. That one, 110%.
Yeah.
But when it comes to counseling people, zero. Zero. And it's not only me, and I'm sure others are able to attest to this, where you'd be called, or someone, the counseling teacher tells you, "Wait, talk about your problem," and then they go and discuss. It now becomes marketplace conversation in the staff room. And it puts, if it was me, I'd be like, what? I tell you something that I've confided into with you, and then you go and share. So you see, already confidentiality is broken. Now imagine someone who's experienced that in primary school, in high school, then they're going to campus, then they're adult in their 30s, they've started having kids, and you expect them to go, they have a problem, and truly they get and understand the concept of, when you have this problem, the way kuna daktari wa mguu, wa macho, wa masikio, kuna wa mental health. Will they really go?
It's least likely.
Least likely that they'd go. So I'd say even our socialization has created such a bad narrative sometimes in the way of health-seeking behavior among individuals. Then the other thing is also just how we're socialized in terms of male and female. How the genders are socialized. So when you're being told, usilie kama mwanaume, but yes, you're mwanaume, but at the end of the day, you will feel the emotions whether you like them or not. You're very, very human. If it's sadness, you'll feel it. If it's pain, you'll feel it. You might not cry the way a woman would maybe cry in front of people with no judgment, but you'll still cry. You'll find your time to cry.
Even if it's while chopping onions.
Even if it's while chopping onions. However way you choose to mask it, it will still come out.
True,
And for some people, even if they don't, like, I've had people tell me, even just, people who I'm acquainted to, they don't remember the last time I cried. They cried. I cry a lot. Even when I'm watching a movie, I cry.
Oh.
I have a designated movie for just crying when I'm feeling. And I highly recommend. I 100% highly recommend. Yeah. So even going back to now what we were talking about in terms of seeking help and looking at these avenues, the other thing people you need to realize is, I'll use a book that I've enjoyed as a reference, and it's called The Body Keeps Score by Dr. Vassel van der Kolk. And I'll explain it this way. It basically means when something happens to you, sometimes if it's traumatic or just, something takes place, and most times your body, it doesn't have your uwezo, the capability to maybe deal with it in that moment. So it like shelters you. That's why you might hear even someone say something like, this happened, but I can't even remember it.
Yeah.
Vizuri, ni watu tu ndio wananiambianga, or things like those. Or someone, something traumatic has happened. You can see, how is this person dealing with this? And even losses, just a myriad of things. Sometimes things happen really, and it's like either now the way you choose to also deal with it, you mask it, so you do other things instead of, tending to it.
To the problem.
Yeah.
For sure.
I usually say ni kama deni. It's like a debt.
Yeah,
it's like a debt. And a debt is, you'll repay it.
Right.
Eventually.
And the more it stays, the longer it stays, the more interest it accrues.
Exactly.
Wow, that's quite a way to think about it.
Yes, it's like a debt. And that's why you'd find, again, to use myself, at 20 years, and I'm telling my therapist, when I was in class 1, now there I'm like 7, there's this person who did this, and then I was in class 1, for heaven's sake.
Right.
How many years has it been now I'm 20, and all those years I've held onto that thing. And as we go on with life, we're always collecting experiences and whatnot, and some of them are not necessarily good. The nice ones, cool. The not so good ones, there is where maybe we have a problem. Yeah. Now it reaches a point where you need to pay up. And with the paying up, it looks differently for everyone, but you need to pay up at some point. So with the paying up, it can even look like, to you, it's out of nowhere. That's how you usually express it.
Yeah.
It's like out of nowhere, but I've been feeling very, I don't know, sijui aje. I don't know how I've been feeling. Or it's out of nowhere and I'm just feeling sad. When I remember, and I don't even know what it is, I feel sad. And for some people, it is even evident in terms of sound or smell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's say it is even someone who used to either beat you up and they maybe used to smoke cigarettes and then they smelled a certain way. So anytime you smell that, it takes you right back to that experience of, hey, this person did that. Even in the events of sexual abuse, if let's say the person sounded a particular way and you hear that sound, someone who maybe has the same voice or the same tone as them, it really takes you back to that incident. Yeah. So there's a lot to it, and again, it varies why people have different reasons to it, and also there's those people who just don't believe in therapy.
Let me just sort of cut you short there to just share. When you said about how the body keeps score and certain things remain in your memory, something happened to me when I was young, and for some reason, like as an adult, I always knew I prefer to sleep on a chair. Like wherever I am, like me when I come to visit you, just let me sleep on the chair. Like I'm cool. And then one time it literally just clicked in my mind. I'm like, this is why I like sleeping on chairs. So like you've said that, and I'm just like, holy moly. yeah. Like pay up time comes. Pay up time comes. And it's not pretty when it shows up.
It isn't pretty. And I'm really curious to know. That's just a brainworm.
I mean, play it on us.
I wonder how many people escape it.
Are there people who get away?
I mean,
is that what you're asking?
Yeah. It's a dark one. Maybe death. No. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that warrants us thinking about. Yeah. So we're just speaking about the, how I think you've really put it nicely that, pay up time comes. And I mean, it's maybe our use of the term that, paying up comes because, most of the time it's usually not a debt that you borrowed, like life experiences happen to you without your consent a lot of times.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'd give it in terms of, there's this term that's usually thrown, and I've had it quite a lot of times, generational curses. And when you even look at psychology, basically, it's the study of behavior. One element of it is the study of behavior.
Yeah.
And when I hear people say generational curses, not to dismiss their belief on what generational curses means to them, but I just like to explain it in terms of now when you even look at how a particular family behaves.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Even in how maybe they handle stress or emotions. And you maybe realize, let's even look at...
Sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. When you even look at, for example, where... what is it called? Physical violence happens within the home. Yeah. Sometimes you'd want to think, but this person, they've seen, either their parent being beaten or their, they were also punished severely with, the unwarranted punishment by either their caregiver. And then the assumption usually is, you've passed through that. You'd not want to put the next person through that. But what happens typically? They end up repeating the same cycle. Now, as a psychologist, my understanding of it is until now you sit down with yourself and acknowledge the behavior and go back to the root of it. Now you start undoing it. Undoing it looks like putting in the work, being able to understand, okay, what is it that, manifests this within me? What is it that could be contributing to this and things like those? So that's true. Sometimes you inherit things that you don't necessarily plan for. But definitely. Now you're there in the mix of it. What do you then do about it?
And I think that having access to information, because for the person who, for example, the instance that you have cited for domestic violence, unfortunately, when someone has that happen to them, they will believe that when it comes to their time, they will be able to disconnect absolutely from how they were treated, and that it will be turning over a new leaf. But of course, as you have cited that very that book, the body keeps score. There's a way in which your mind interpreted what happened, and if you're not careful to tend, the way you have said, to seek psychological care and ask yourself, how did this affect me? How did this impact me? The things that have happened in my past, how have this impacted me? And how then do I ensure that it will not
be repeated?
It will not be repeated. Because sometimes we generally just believe that my parents did this and this and this, and I'm never gonna do that to my kids. And that is wishful thinking. Honestly, it is wishful thinking. And I think that a part of what you're saying is that if we don't tend to our mental wellness, it will not only affect our personal well-being, where we get to a point where it is now an overload and we have to, there's that, but then also there's potential for us to carry it down to the generations that come after us.
Definitely.
And the generations you carry it to does not necessarily have to be your kids. It could look like, siblings, if you have siblings, and even to your workmates. And I think the idea that we would like to believe that our lives are beautifully compartmentalized and nothing overlaps. And that our work issue is not affecting our home issue. And our home issues, we are not bringing them into work. And even our own effort to not make issues overlap, that in of itself is already an overlap, because the fact that you're getting into work and you're needing to bring yourself into like a state of brain for work already means that, you know, your things are already overlapping. So there is overlap between who we are, because you are one person. You can very easily say, oh my goodness, I'm not going to let, you know, what's going on at home to affect how I show up at work. And you can go on into work and, you know, produce, you know, very well. True. But also, you know, is this driven by you love your job and you like the impact that you're bringing, or is it, you know, you're escaping the dealing with what's going on, so you're overcompensating over here. So I think that really brings us into this place of speaking about sexual and reproductive health. Of course, over the course of this podcast, we will discuss a lot more about mental health. We will discuss more about mental illnesses and mood disorders and all the things that you have mentioned. But I'd like us to jump into speaking about the sexual and reproductive health part of it. Before we do, though, I have a question for you.
All right, ask away.
I have a question for you. Let me pull it up right quick. Where is it? Yeah. So, if your mood today would be a piece of clothing,
all right,
from your wardrobe,
okay,
what would it be and why?
If my mood today were to be a piece of clothing from my wardrobe, what would it be and why? I'm really trying to think. Okay. I'd say now all my clothes are looking ugly in my mind. Let me see.
Or there's nothing in your wardrobe that represents how you feel today.
Okay. How I feel today? I'm feeling nice today. So I'd say like a nice pair of jeans.
Okay.
That, yeah, you know those jeans that they fit right and you repeat them, you die with them. It would be probably a pair of jeans.
Like a nice pair of
jeans, yeah.
Cool. That's a nice way to put it. Great. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. The Wellness Junction Podcast is a production of Pamoja community-based organization. It is supported by the Northwestern University Access to Health Project with production assistance from Studio Spain Media Group. Please take a moment to follow the Wellness Junction Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're listening. To learn more about how Pamoja CBO has impacted young people's lives over the past 15 years, please visit our website at www.pamojapamoja.org or our social media pages that are linked in the show notes. I have been your host, Jordana, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next one. Thank you for being here.